everybody. Welcome. My name is Donna Waters. I'm one of the Deputy Executive Deans for the Faculty of Medicine and Health, and I'm also the Chair of the StepUp for Research Advisory Board. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you all here this morning. I acknowledge and pay my respect to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and to all First Nations people joining us this morning for the launch of the StepUp for Ageing Research. The Camperdown campus of the University of Sydney is built on the ancestral lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. But I believe we also have people joining us online. So as we share our knowledge, teaching, learning and research practices across all of the places you may be joining us from today, we pay our respect and to the knowledge embedded forever within the Aboriginal custodianship of country, land, sea and air. We're so pleased you could join us here in person today, and particularly grateful to Dame Quentin Bryce, AD, CVO, for making time to join us today. I also welcome our Provost and Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Annamarie Jagose, Dr. Tony Hobbs, and the many other distinguished guests who are here with us today in person and online. And I will just mention a few people here. Professor Brendan McCormack, who is the Head of School and Dean of the Susan Wakehill School of Nursing and Midwifery, Ross Steele and David Kaduri, who are good friends of the University, Luann Blunden, who is here from the Sydney Local Health District, Zamir Youssef, who's here from the Department of Health and Ageing, and Trevor Thompson from the Brain Foundation. Welcome to you all and to all other guests. Now, it is my very great pleasure to invite Dame Quentin Bryce to say a few words and to officially launch the new StepUp for Ageing Research platform. Dame Bryce.
I'd like to say thank you to Professor Waters for your kind introduction and warm welcome. Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Provost, Professor Annamarie Jagose, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm truly delighted to be back at your distinguished university. I spent some of the happiest times of my career as principal of the Women's College, a lively community of talented young ones in those important and influential years of transition from girlhood to womanhood, as well as some stunning postgrads. The joie de vivre of their halcyon days enriched my life in ways I couldn't count. And 25 years on, I take enormous pride in their service, selflessness, accomplishment. Coming across from there this morning, I stayed at the college last night. Quite an experience, actually. Nothing much has changed. Well, of course it has. But, you know, the lovely visitors' room is on the ground floor, and I'd forgotten it was Thursday night. I reflected on the distinguished history of this much-loved institution in the cultural life of our nation, our education, splendid architecture, art and beauty. Michael and I love to wander through the cloisters, down pathways in gentle light of summer afternoons, soft shadows on the lawns, jacaranda blossoms falling, enduring friendships with alumni, staff, brilliant minds to treasure. And just being driven here this morning from the college, I've been really dosed in very heartwarming nostalgia and how beautiful this place is. My friends, I pay my respect to the traditional keepers, and I acknowledge the debt of gratitude that I owe to wise Indigenous women who taught me across my life what it means to be an elder, sharing language, country, culture. I'm delighted to be here to launch the exciting new program, StepUp for Ageing Research. It's an honour for me to be ambassador for both StepUp for Dementia Research and StepUp for Ageing Research, and I look forward to being involved. Both are of significant import to our country. We know, ladies and gentlemen, that by 2066, 1 in 5 Australians will be 65 and older, and the fastest growing age demographic is those aged 85 and older. We know that people in these older age groups are likely to have more sustained contact with health and aged care systems than at any other time in their lives. Many experience discrimination and disadvantage. StepUp for Ageing Research enables people across different ages and social backgrounds to participate in ageing-related research that has relevance for them. A new platform to connect our citizens and communities with researchers in these fields so their views and experiences can inform policy development and new treatment, care practices, contribute to societal changes to improve health and well-being. My friends, as you may know, in December 2020, the United Nations launched a global initiative proclaiming 2021-2030 as the UN Decade of Healthy Ageing. This global collaboration acknowledges the need for fundamental shifts in the way societies think about age and ageing to foster healthy ageing, to improve life for older people, their families, and our communities. As part of the decade, the UN announced an initiative, Healthy Ageing to 50. This recognises the various transformative contributions of 50 global leaders in healthy ageing from government, civil society, industry, academia, and it acknowledges the intersectorial, interdisciplinary underpinnings of healthy ageing. It's been great to see the publicity about this in the last month. Professor Jun-Hee Jong, StepUp for Ageing Research Program Director, was announced by the UN as a global leader in ageing. Professor John is one of only 3 Australians named. So congratulations. I often think we have so little celebration and acknowledgement and recognition of wonderful international appointments like this. I just think of that so often, having been engaged internationally in many ways, and particularly through the UN. I'm reminded of this again and again, and that is an enormous recognition and achievement, and so I'm delighted to be working with her now too. My friends, our understanding of healthy ageing throws into sharp focus the roles of families, communities, societies in preparing individual people for older age and enabling their well-being as they age. Healthy ageing is about older people becoming and remaining healthy. It's crucial for people of all ages to have access to intergenerational programs that promote the value of contributions that older people make to our society and recognise their human rights. StepUp for Ageing Research will enable the voices of older people, families, communities to be heard and to be included, to be not invisible. During my husband's last illness, and now with a very dear one in my family needing aged care support, I've become acutely aware of how incredibly difficult it can be to navigate our complex healthcare system and service delivery options. These experiences highlight for me the inadequacy of some of our health and aged care services. Families need and want to be involved, helping their loved ones in difficult, challenging circumstances. Indeed, the healthcare system relies very heavily on family and friends for ongoing vital care and support, but there is little public awareness of the sheer scope and impact of this extraordinary contribution. Our ongoing shared support of family and friends throughout a frightening COVID-19 pandemic shone a bright light on the vulnerabilities of older people, especially with those with chronic conditions and comorbidities. We've been reminded over the past 2 years the way a pandemic can add yet further layers of complexity, bewilderment and loss to at-risk older people and their families. These emotion-charged personal experiences starkly remind us of the critical importance of active engagement of patients and families in health research, essential to keep them front and centre in healthy policy development and service delivery. Robust, respectful collaborations between providers and recipients of care are required for gold standard relevant health and aged care systems. StepUp for Ageing Research offers all of us the opportunity to be involved in helping to shape the future in all of this. My friends, it is uplifting and energising to be launching this world-first matching program. The potential to fast-track research breakthroughs in improving quality of life, achieving healthy ageing and creating quality aged care services. As you grow in age, you think about things more deeply. You love more deeply, feel more deeply, and people think you have more time for things. The number of times people say to me, "Oh, it must be wonderful to be retired," and talk about patronising. But they think you have more time for things. But that's not so. There is less. So you distill what really matters. Those things that bring joy and wonder and delight, that reach into heart and mind and into every emotion. The people we love, our families, friends dear to us, our neighbours, those we count on, those for whom we have care in our community. We mustn't forget that the most important tool we have in our advocacy is our voice. I want to use mine whenever I can to push for action and encouragement for individuals and organisations leading change. That's what StepUp for Ageing Research and StepUp for Dementia Research are all about. I congratulate Professor John and all involved in their development and publication. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to declare the StepUp for Ageing program launched. Thank you.
That's very exciting. Thank you, Dame Bryce. That was wonderful. And thank you for reminding us about voice and equality in voice, and for being such a wonderful ambassador for this program. Thank you. So now it is time to, for those of you, I think everybody knows Yun Hee, but I'd like to introduce Professor Yun Hee Jeon, Susan and Isaac Wakehill Professor of Healthy Ageing. Yun Hee.
Thank you. I did ask for airbrushing, but that didn't happen. It's so pleasing to see everyone here in this room. Thank you, distinguished guests and colleagues. And a big thank you to Dame Quentin Bryce for your presence here and your kind words. Your words have made us feel very special. Thank you. Today, and also before I begin my talk, I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the traditional custodians of the land and our First Nations people joining us today here and through our streaming. Step Up for Aging Research. Now, this has been a 5-year making. And 2017, I was in Kyoto attending a conference, and that's when I first learned about our sister program, Joint Dementia Research in the UK. And I was really impressed by their achievement and wanted to introduce a similar program to Australia. So as many of you here are researchers and also from various aged care and dementia care organizations and policymakers. And when we, as researchers, try to do our job, often people focus on securing funding for research. But not many people actually understand outside research how difficult it is to actually do our study in a timely manner. Often one of the biggest challenges has to do with the recruitment. And recruiting study participants is costly, time-consuming, and challenging. But it's also from the public's perspective, there is a really little opportunity for people to find out about research. Often they find out through their doctors or nurses, but very ad hoc. And there is no one place for people to come to. And also when it comes to research in dementia, aged care and aging, often stigma comes with it, unfortunately. And when we have difficulty in recruiting research participants, and it often not just in delaying study, findings, but also researchers are really discouraged by the whole process. And also, the trial can lose momentum and can be abandoned. And there was a study in Australia, 2014, looking at total number of clinical trials, and only 20% of those clinical trials had their recruitment within the time frame, and about 60% of them still had less sample size than they require. So it's a huge issue, and ultimately that actually limits the timeliness and the effectiveness of research and evaluation, and that will actually impact on our health. So this is why we have introduced the Step Up for Dementia Research and Aging Research. So what is Step Up for Aging Research? It's an Australian-wide research participation and public engagement platform. It's a one-stop shop. We sometimes say it's online dating for the public to be connected with the researchers. And it really works on the premise that we ask people to join us via online or telephone or post, and anyone 18 years and older can join us. Because as many of you know, the research in aging and aged care related areas, we ask everyone's opinions. And so it doesn't have to be older people participating in research. And we are able to actually match individual volunteers' details with the research studies require particular population groups. So this is how we work. The signing up takes about 5 minutes, and we've been running this program for some time now. So when I was preparing these slides, and I just thought, oh my goodness, that's been 4 years, almost 5 years since we started the conceptualization of Step Up. And we had a dementia research launch in 2019. And now here we are, 2022, launching Step Up for Aging. And I just want to say, someone says, it takes a village to raise a child. If you see Step Up for Aging and Dementia Research as a child, it's taken entire university, support, from Office of General Counsel to, ICT, and so many support services and staff members actually helped us to come where we are. And I just want to highlight the fact that, we spent about 6 to 8 months focusing purely on building our protocols so that we have secure our platform. Cybersecurity is really important, and wanting to make sure individuals' privacy is really, protected. So we had over 30 protocols to actually prepare, but it really helped us to actually continue our work 3-4 years later. So where we are at now, we have over 1,700 people signed up and over 1,300 people participating in study. You can go to our website. This is an actually interactive map, so you can click different states and look for numbers, and you can find out where in Australia people actually joined the StepUp. And so currently we have, 1,330 volunteers, and most of our volunteers joined us via, online, and we support them by telephone and postal support as well. And as you can see, most of our volunteers are female, and we want to do some work around so that more men can join us. And I can't play football, but hopefully we can target, football player to join us. New South Wales is has the highest number, but after today, I'm sure we can do better with Queensland, having our Dame Quentin Bryce from Brisbane. Yeah. And we have, as you can see, that a lot of people have joined. They have very much interest because they have family history, they are carers, or they also have dementia or mild cognitive impairment. And also, we're very proud to be able to, say to you that we've supported over 100 research studies in this short period of time. And a lot of us, researchers tell us how critical it has been to be supported by StepUp, especially during the pandemic. And we know about 50% of study sample come from StepUp for those studies finished their studies through StepUp. And 26 universities and institutions in Australia have data access agreement, meaning that they are actually using our service. So I'm very pleased about it. We had a couple of evaluation time and just a quick snapshot. And, people say about 80% of people by 2021, they've actually felt the StepUp increase their awareness of what dementia research is going on in Australia. But also over 75% of people also reported that the StepUp for dementia research made it easier to take part in dementia research. And when we ask our volunteers about their satisfaction with the survey across all of them, so blue parties strongly agree and orange parties agree, and over 90% of participants are very happy with the way that our website is designed, clear information, easy to find, and easy to register. So I want to introduce some of our highlights. So I'm very pleased to say our public panel, involvement panel member is here, Bobby Redman. And, it just really warmed my heart when I read Bobby's testimonial. And I really love, when Bobby said it gives me purpose and makes me feel that I can make a difference. And also the way that the Bobby has been able to participate in various research studies, and importantly, there's no pressure and just great opportunities. Thank you, Bobby. And also a couple of researchers, Dr. Suraj Samtani from UNSW. So I've done a few work, studies with Suraj, and he really summed up about, the importance of StepUp. Without StepUp, our research would not have been possible. We were able to recruit our study participants within a couple of weeks. And he also highlighted the highlight of using StepUp was being able to find the participants who met our selection criteria. So this is the unique part of a StepUp. A lot of registers or registries, they collect individuals' information, but they don't necessarily have that matching capacity. So what we try to do is we don't want to waste people's time to simply get multiple messages about studies that they are not actually eligible to participate. We are able to match participants with the studies as best as we can. So that's been very important part of our StepUp. Dr. Mona Sawan is also here today. Mona has used StepUp a few times, not just once. StepUp is a great platform that supports the inclusion of people with dementia and their carers in research, accelerates enrollment in dementia studies, and speeds up the development of dementia care strategies. So, when you hear this type of, feedback from researchers, you can't really stop running the service despite challenges we face. And I'm really, committed to continuing this service. So StepUp for Aging Research, we really aim to increase the speed and reduce the cost of research and to improve opportunities for access by facilitating recruitment efficiency and broader community engagement, bring community engagement. These 4 concepts on these slides, it's about empowering. You read what Bobby said, and also it's about time, how we actually, efficiently use our time to build evidence that really help our nation and the world. And it's all about connecting people and to make things better. So that's what we are trying to do. And thank you so much for your attention today.
Now it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Anthony Hobbs to come and address us. Tony is a Senior Medical Advisor for Aged Care for Calvary, and he is one of our long-standing StepUp Advisory Board members. Tony, thank you.
Dane, Quentin, Bryce, Professor Waters, Professor Gion, guests and colleagues. Before I begin, I do want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting today, the Gadigal people of the Aurora Nation, and pay my due respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people either with us in the room or online, a very special welcome to you. It gives me great pleasure, and indeed it's an honour, to have worked with Yun Hee now for several years. And the first time I met Yun Hee was when she actually came to the Department of Health and Ageing when I was a Deputy Chief Medical Officer there some years ago, with this really interesting idea from the United Kingdom, from the University of Exeter and UCL in London, about this innovative platform to better match people with dementia and researchers, which she has so well articulated today. And now we're launching an extension of that, a very sensible extension, I think, into ageing and aged care space. For those that don't know Calvary, Calvary was established in this country by some really remarkable women back in about 135 years ago. Just extraordinary. 137 years ago, in fact, on the 5th of November is the anniversary. And they were working with the most vulnerable in the community. That legacy has morphed into Calvary, the healthcare organisation, which now has 14 acute and subacute hospitals, around 72 residential aged care facilities and villages, and a network of 19 community care centres right across the country. So a truly national organisation. And we look after about 200,000 people each year across that platform. An enormous responsibility, but also an enormous opportunity to support research, and we're very pleased to be a very proud partner and supporter of the StepUp platform, first of all for dementia and now for ageing, but also then to express evidence and research into everyday best practices in our services. As Dane Quentin has rightly pointed out, when you work with the people you seek to care for and their loved ones, and listen to them and engage them, then you can better meet their needs, whether that is in their own home, their own individual home, whether it's in a residential care setting, or indeed for those people that need to be in hospital for a short period of time. I think the innovation here for me, and I will just say right at the beginning that I have registered first of all for StepUp for Dementia, and then it took me 30 seconds then to link my current registration to StepUp for ageing. So I encourage you all to do it. It's a very easy thing, and we're looking for a lot of participants. You don't need to be over 65 like some of us are, and it's about really building that volunteer base that our researchers can come along and match. And that's a very good process from my personal experience, I have to say. So I will continue to support this really important work. It's been an absolute pleasure. Calvary will continue to support this research because whether it's from the Royal Commission, released their final report back in February of last year, whether it was the National Ageing Research Institute, the Annamarie report to government in October of last year, whether it's Research Australia's report back in 2020, there's strong consensus of several things. First of all, the need for greater research in this area, the need for really active and meaningful engagement with the people in this cohort, over 65 in this instance, or people living with dementia and their carers and loved ones, but also that partnership of research institutes, of industry, providers such as us, and governments at all levels. So this platform does that really well, and it's going to be a great privilege to continue to work and support this work and just see it grow over time. So congratulations, Annamarie, on your excellent achievement today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you for leading the charge for men on registering in StepUp, and also congratulations to Calvary tomorrow for your anniversary, 5th of November. Okay, thank you all. So now it is my great pleasure to invite Professor Annamarie Jagose to this podium. Annamarie is the Provost and Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University of Sydney. Annamarie.
And I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of the University today to celebrate in the launching of this online platform, StepUp for Ageing Research. We've heard from colleagues today how seemingly simple it is, but often we know that a simple intervention can have the most amazing consequences. And I hope that everybody here who's not already converted to go out and proselytise for others to sign up to this platform. I think that would be excellent. Very much want to thank Dame Quentin Bryce for your participation as sponsor and your launch, of course, this morning. The University of Sydney, I think everybody knows, has a long history of research excellence, much of which is related to the health of individuals and populations. And the recent experience of COVID-19, as a couple of speakers have already alluded to, has, I think, impressed upon even the non-health experts the absolute importance of understanding ourselves as individuals and as members of larger constituencies at the same time, whether that's understood as a family group or a community group or a national group or a global group. So I think thinking very hard about our individual life courses in the context of society or even global configurations is really important. I guess for me, a very basic thing to say is that all going as well as can be hoped, each of us will be old in our time. Something that I think presses on us differently at different ages and depending on different life course stages, the sense that the life you have at one point is not always going to be experienced in exactly that same way. Something that I think I learned as a very young person, well, a 16-year-old, that strikes me now as a very young person, when I took my first job in the summer holidays between high school and university. I worked in a hospital that my mother managed, which was in those days called a rest home, as a nurse aide. I had no medical training of any description, of course. I had just left high school, and the experience of working in a rest home with what seemed to me at that stage as severely elderly people. The oldest people I knew were my parents. We had no other relatives in New Zealand when I was growing up, and so it was literally a culture shock to go into that workspace and work with a group of people who were so old they were probably frightening to me, to be honest, when I first encountered them, and across that summer learn the richness and value that they brought as individuals, and to think about my own life, which was just seemed to be kind of unfurling, that feeling of leaving high school and going to university as a great unknown. But I always carried, and I think I carry it today, that sense of, if I'm lucky, that's a kind of a destination. And I think in a non-gloomy way, to think about aging as a lucky life point is I think something that seems to come to my mind when I think about this project. We're all well aware, I think, of the impact of increasing life expectancy on our national demographics, and we know that the burden of poor health is increased for older people. And so enabling people to be as healthy as they can as they age is a high priority for governments, for societies, and no doubt for each of us. And consumer and community participation is also a really valuable aspect of this project, which I think is worth drawing out. That is, involving people in aspects of their life that affect them and impact them. The university is extremely proud to support this new project that will enable citizens, including those who may be experiencing diminishing capabilities, to engage with and influence the future of research into how healthy ageing can be achieved by participating in research from surveys to drug and clinical trials. I want to give a big congratulations to Yun-hee, who you've already successfully established the partner, the StepUp for Dementia Research platform, and now this new initiative, which we are really delighted to support, you and your team, and very much encourage people to take a pamphlet on departure and definitely do the few 1, 2, 3 simple steps to sign up. I promise I will do it before the sun goes down.
Thank you, Annamarie. That was great. So we're almost at the end of the official launching. We have one more thing to do, and that is to invite people to for a photo. Would you like to do that now, Yun-hee, or at the end? Do it after? Okay. So I'd like to especially thank Dame Quentin Bryce for being here today to launch StepUp for Ageing Research. It means a lot to us to have you as one of our ambassadors and for you to be here with us today. Tony, member of the StepUp Advisory Board, Professor Jagose, thank you so much for your words of encouragement and for supporting us here. As you can see, this really is, as Yun-hee said, a village of people who we need to acknowledge today. All our ambassadors, members of our advisory board, fantastic members of our public involvement panel, our international partner at University College London, who's spent a lot of time in helping us develop this, our researcher involvement panel, and the StepUp for Research team who supports Yun-hee. Thank you all and for all of the support you give us in so many ways. I also want to at this time say thank you to the fabulous FMH Marketing and Communication and Events team who help us out so well. Michelle Blows, Matthew Skinner and Scott Bellingham. Thank you so much for your support. Have a number of organisational champions, and of course this is still in the wrong place, but anyway, we'll try. How amazing. I mean, what a fantastic collaboration this is. The Dementia Research Network that started and the subsequent StepUp platform would not have been possible without Yun-hee's absolute tenacity, and those of you who know her, and thank you for acknowledging this, Dame Bryce. Yun-hee just keeps pushing through where many others would have given up a long time ago. She really is indeed special. We're very fortunate to have equally brilliant, highly successful and tenacious individuals on our advisory board, and of course our wonderful local health district partners, our corporate and government sponsors, our volunteers and ambassadors. This, as I said, is a truly collaborative endeavour. I encourage you, as others have, to spread the word far and wide about StepUp and for ageing research, and to take an active role in helping us to promote better access to research participation to all people, and to ensure the ongoing success of the StepUp for Ageing research platform. And these are the ways, as Yunhee said, that you can become involved. That is the end of the formal proceedings. For those of you who are here, please stay and have some refreshments and catch up with us. I'm sorry to those of you online, I cannot send you anything through the screen. I'm not even going to try, but thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you being there as well. Otherwise, please enjoy yourselves, and for those of you, goodbye for the moment, and thank you for joining us today.